Thank you again for tuning in to our Retirement Education Center YouTube channel, where on this channel, we believe in providing you unbiased advice to help you maximize your retirement income. Now, on our channel, we do not believe in providing you some type of silver bullet strategy, and we certainly do not promote or glorify any type of one product. But on our channel, what we do believe in are holistic concepts that will help you retire with confidence. Now, today, what we're going to be talking about is living paycheck to paycheck. Now, we know that millions of Americans fall into this category. As a matter of fact, Andrea, 58% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And according to studies, 30% of those people make over $250,000. So if you fall into this category, we are going to be talking about how to change your mindset so that you are not continuing to live paycheck to paycheck for the rest of your life. So stay locked in. Hi, my name is Carson Graves, President and CEO of the Retirement Education Center.
And my name is Andrea Graves, Director of Operations at the Retirement Education Center. And we want to thank you for tuning in to our Retirement Education Concepts videos. These videos were created to help to make the difficult and confusing retirement process simple.
Absolutely, Andrea, because with so many retirement concepts out there, so many retirement strategies, and of course, so many retirement products, it can become very difficult for consumers to digest it all. That is why we're so fortunate that we work with a team of expert advisors to help us build a financial roadmap that's going to let our clients know when, where, and how they can reach their retirement goals.
For additional concepts on how to maximize your retirement income, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when we upload new videos. Carson, consumers have been dealing with a lot these past couple of years, including the pandemic, the layoffs, and now how inflation. So it's not a surprise that people are living paycheck to paycheck.
Absolutely, Andrea. And even before all of the economic stumbling blocks that we are seeing right now, most Americans were still living paycheck to paycheck. And so of course, when we look at this, it's not always their fault. There can be circumstances that will lead to that. But also, there could still be things that we can do better in order to avoid this situation and get out of this rat race. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we do that, there are 2 rules to retirement income that we always want to give you. And Andrew, what are those 2 rules?
Well, rule number 1 is to never run out of money, and rule number 2 is to never forget rule number 1.
All right, Andrea, so let's go ahead and dive into why many Americans are living paycheck to paycheck.
So Carson, why do you think so many Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, even high wage earners?
It's a very good question. And Andrea, sometimes I find it hard to believe that someone making $250,000 or more will still be living paycheck to paycheck. Mm-hmm. But here's what I've done, Andrea. I've actually used my own observation to figure out maybe 3 reasons why I believe many Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. So let's talk about this. The first thing that I want to make note of that I think I've discovered is that many Americans are overworking themselves. They may be working 60, 70, and some even 80 hours per week on their jobs. And when you're working that long of hours, then you don't leave yourself with much time to do anything else. So what I believe people literally do, Andrea, is that they supplement their hours for working, for their money, for buying things, to say that they need to appreciate all the hard work that they're putting in. And I get that. You're working so hard for your money, you want to play hard with your money. But what that ends up doing, unfortunately, is leaving people little thought about saving, because that, again, of course, may be work, and investing, that may be work as well. And so when the bills start to come in and maybe an income could go away, maybe expenses go up, you have a child, you need the car repaired, maybe you have some expenses on the home, maybe you have a medical emergency that you have to tend to. So when all of those things start to come to play at any given time in your life, then you may find yourself in a predicament that you don't want to be in, and you have to start scraping by just to take care and make ends meet. So you have to be sure that you understand that yes, you're overworking to try to live a certain lifestyle, and because you're overworking, you don't have enough time for yourself, you got to be careful that you don't let that be I would say an excuse for you to go out and start buying extra things that you may not need. And Andrea, the second thing that I want to make note of that may not be the consumer fault of why many people are living paycheck to paycheck is that, according to data, real wages have been stagnant over the last 40 years. And now we're seeing a 40-year high in inflation. So of course, it goes without saying that if wages are stagnant and things are getting more expensive, then people are going to end up maybe being behind the 8 ball. They're not going to be able to afford the lifestyle that they are trying to afford because it keeps getting more expensive relative to their earning. And the last thing that I do want to make note of that is 100% the fault of the person living paycheck to paycheck, number 3, is that you are living above your means. Just that simple. A lot of times people refuse to live within or below their means in order for people to see what they have, whatever it may be, to take care of something emotionally that's deep down inside of them that they never had when they were growing up, whatever it may be. But they begin to try to start balling. And that is a mistake that many Americans need to make sure that they stay away from. Do not live above your means, because if you do, there is no substitute for that. There is no antidote for actually trying to help you stop living paycheck to paycheck if that is going to be your mentality. So Andrew, with that being said, what I encourage everyone who's watching this video, in order to stop living a lifestyle where you're living paycheck to paycheck, you must start living a lifestyle in which you're not living above your means.
So Carson, we now understand for sure that inflation is causing a lot of the strain. So what can people do to take the strain off of their, living a paycheck to paycheck?
Yeah, Andrew, let me go ahead and address that particular question. Yes, inflation will absolutely put a strain on your paycheck. But here's how you take control over that matter. As I mentioned before, in life, you can only control what you can control. You have to control the controllables, right? Now, we can't control inflation. We have no bearings on when companies or the economy is going to decide to go into an inflationary mode. But here's what we can control. We can control our budget, right? We can create a budget. When you create a budget, it is going to be your foundation for money management, okay? And when you create a budget, you take control over your money, and your money is not in control over you, because you are now understanding where every dollar is going. And then you can determine where every dollar should not go. So if you really want to take control over inflation, start looking at your budget and start seeing where maybe you can cut some things out. Maybe some of those shopping sprees or going out to those fine restaurants may have to be something that you put on the back burner. But if you look at your budget and see what you're spending money on, you can easily start determining what you don't need to spend money on.
Carson, many studies show that credit card balances contribute to people living paycheck to paycheck. So why is that?
Yeah, it really, Andrew, it goes back to what I was just talking about, not having a proper budget. So when people don't have a proper budget, or they're living above their means and they start living paycheck to paycheck because they don't have control over their finances, what they're going to inevitably do, Andrew, they're going to start going to the plastic, right? They're going to start digging in their wallets and pulling out the credit card. And of course, Andrew, it goes without saying, right, that if you can't find enough money to meet your common expenses for the week, then you're going to lean on the plastic, right? You're going to go into your wallet and you're going to start putting things on the credit card. And of course, you tell yourself all the time that you're going to pay it off at the end of the month. And that, of course, never happens. That money continues to build up on that credit card, along with the high interest of maybe 20% or more, depending. And that is going to keep you in a financial bind. So, Andrew, here's what I believe that a person should start thinking about in order to not continue to abuse themselves by actually going to the credit card to try to make ends meet. One, to get control over this credit card abuse, you need to make sure that you do not create any additional debts for yourself. Once you know that you're in this debt load that you have to pay down, you have to start getting control over not putting anything else on this credit card. You have to understand that. Once you do that, Andrew, you have to now start thinking about, okay, how do I start paying this credit card debt that I've accumulated off? What is my strategy? There are many strategies out there that you can go to and lean on, but I do believe in the strategy of paying off the smaller debts first and continue to take those funds to pay off the next smallest debt until you get to the largest debt. Why do I believe that, Andrew? Because what you want to do is feel like you've accomplished something when you're paying down your debt. And so if you have a debt that may be $500 versus one that's $5,000, you may can easily pay off that $500 debt on that credit card and then move on to the debt that may be larger. So that's how you'll want to do it, because you'll feel like, hey, I've accomplished something here. I'm not one piece of this debt load off. Now I can graduate myself to the higher debts. After you've actually accomplished this here, you have to reward yourself. And when I say reward yourself, I don't mean going out and putting more money on the credit card, right? Not buying any new expensive shoes or new car or taking that fancy vacation. When I say reward yourself, I mean pay yourself back for the time lost while you were trying to get out of debt. So that money that you were spending to pay down that debt, open up a retirement account, a Roth IRA, or some sort of savings so you can make sure that you have 3 to maybe 6 months of savings on hand for emergencies so you don't allow yourself to get back into debt. That would be the proper way to handle your money in that particular situation, Andrew.
Well, Carson, that was some good information. So what else can help people to get out of this paycheck to paycheck mentality?
Simple. Just stop buying stuff, Andrew. Stop buying stuff. Stop going out and continue to buy stuff and continue to abuse your money. We did a video one time of how to marry your money. I encourage you to go out and take a look at that, because you're committing money abuse against yourself by continuing to buying things that keeps you in this rat race. So the minute you realize that you're in trouble and yet you're living paycheck to paycheck, take a pause from going out to those fancy restaurants. Take a pause from going to the mall. Take a pause from maybe taking the vacations and start maybe looking at staycations. Maybe a 3-day getaway is good enough than going away for 7 days or 14 days, whatever it may be. But you have to take a pause and gather yourself so you can understand that, hey, I'm in trouble. I don't have enough for retirement. I haven't saved enough and I'm in debt. I have to do something to take control over my situation. And the easiest thing to do is just stop. Stop for a moment and take evaluation of your situation in order to start getting things in its proper place. And of course, the most important thing, Andrew, speak to a financial advisor or a money manager who can help you understand what your issues are and how to get out of it.
Carson, look, people are not just going to just stop buying things out there, especially with social media, just encouraging people to do the opposite of what you're saying. So how can you tell stubborn shoppers and ballers out there to stop?
Yes. Try to ball on the budget for one. But the other thing I'm going to tell you, that if you just can't control yourself, you're just a person that like to show out, as we used to say back in the day. You just like to show out on social media. You got to show people that you're balling out of control. Then in order to help yourself, that when the cameras are actually off of you and you're crying in your hands and you don't have any money left over, you're living paycheck to paycheck, to help yourself, you need to maybe think about getting a second job. Maybe you get a side hustle. You take on a part-time job to help alleviate some of the pains that you're actually giving yourself. So you may have to become part of the gig economy. You go do Uber or Lyft or work from home, do some things like that in order to increase your income. Because if you're not going to stop one bad habit, try to maybe buffer that or create a good habit that's going to help support it, I guess, until you finally figure out that you're overworking yourself to support a lifestyle that only you are enjoying. No one else really cares. So it will be appropriate for you to, if you can't stop balling and you can't stop shopping, become part of the gig economy, get a side hustle to help your budget out. And when you finally start using that money to pay down some of those expenses, to pay down some of that debt, then perhaps you can back away from those gig jobs and start working normal, saving money at a regular pace for your retirement, for your emergency fund. And then you will realize that you have now stopped living paycheck to paycheck, because you then had to figure out the hard way of what it takes in order to support a lifestyle that you're creating for yourself.
Well, Carson, thank you again for your insight on that topic, because that was really some good information that people can use. So, and we also want to thank you for watching. And if you felt that this information was beneficial for you, please like this video and share with others.
So I really hope that the information that we shared with you today would be beneficial to help you stop living paycheck to paycheck. Please understand that these videos are created for educational purposes only, and that you should always seek out your own financial advisor, your own tax advisor, and your own attorney regarding your personal situation. Also, if you are looking for a fiduciary financial advisor to help you with these types of complex financial matters, we highly recommend that you utilize the links in the description below and go ahead and schedule a 1-hour free consultation with us today.
For more information on this topic or any of the other topics that we've shared in our other videos, please feel free to reach out to our office or leave any questions or comments in the section below. After this video, please check out our other videos that we've created that will give you tips on how to maximize your retirement. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share it with a friend. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you have questions,
we have answers.